Welcome to the Fortress of Meripede, dear esteemed guests.
We're back! Oh, and a greeting from none other than the...
This isn't anything new. I figured you had important matters to discuss. Let's assume we've gone through the pleasantry. I do remember a thing or two about Domenico.
Who does this guy think he is?
He once attempted to, I said, meaning that it was over before it even started. To be honest, Domenico doesn't seem like much of a conspirator. The fact that the three of you...
He's got the same concerns we do.
I'm concerned about this incident because something similar has occurred in the past.
That's an easy one.
Oh, did I hear someone say Melusine? What happened? Sijuin! Yeah, and we're investigating. Really? Is Kiara gonna be okay?
There's no need to worry. Clarande is protecting her as we speak.
Well, that's great. But if the criminal's still... Is there anything you can do about this?
Ah, head nurse. Do you require me to
Writhsley.
Okay, I get it.
Think of it as more of a humble request. I'm here on my own accord, not to formally transfer a criminal. Thanks for the trouble.
Whoa. If Paimon were you here, Grace...
Well, were I still a criminal, I'd probably ask for a lighter sentence. But enough jokes. I'll look for Domenico and make yourselves at home.
Please come with me to the infirmary. Ah, and watch your step. There's some pretty dark areas, so make sure you don't trip over anything.
Did Neuvillette just walk by?
Now that I think about it, I can leave this place soon. Huh?
Please rest here for a moment. Oh, and would anyone like it? Paimon's not that thirsty, but thirst is a warning sign that you're dehydrated, which means you have to drink up even before that. I'll bring you some tea. I'm sure... Typical Sijuin. Why aren't you two saying anything?
You noticed them too. The badges they wore.
Familiar? But if both of you say so, let's go ask them about it.
That's not a bad idea. I place great trust in Writhsley, so I rarely visit the Fortress of...
Anything you need? Oh, this? Are you interested?
What's that?
We have a very long history. We have never had many members through. Helping each other is our purpose.
Sounds like a pretty neat...
But people won't give us...
Interested in joining the mutual? If you'd like to learn more, here's our... Our slogan may have evolved over... Here, this book is for...
You two look... It's the symbol of the mutual aid. From what I've heard, it's based on something called a Medal of Peace. I've never seen one of those medals. The first president of our network, all of us have a lot of...
We should have gathered enough information. Let's head back and talk to Neuvillette.
Did you manage to gather any?
Mm-hmm. The people who were...
Carol's medal was destroyed in a fire. The only one that
Oh, so the network was inspired by... Monsieur Neuvillette, His Grace has requested your presence in...
All right.
Allow me to introduce this. Why don't you explain everything to him?
Neuvillette? What do you want?
Calm down. I merely want... Was it your idea to send... Hassan has already confessed, so there really isn't any need...
That idiot!
Let me ask this another way. Who is pulling your string?
What? You're not trying to frame me for some...
It's best if you realize the gravity of your situation. I assume your previous attempt to incite unrest at the Fortress of Meripede has...
I admit I acted on impulse. I'll tell you that...
I can do that.
You see, we're all...
I only intended to do some small business at first. Someone contacted me after making a few trips. But I refused to accept any of that.
And then you decided to take revenge on the Melazines? Over that?
My initial target was Neuvillette. Everyone in the Fortress of Meripede was declared guilty by him after all. But for some reason, no one wanted to team up with me. That mutual aid network in particular. What did those nobodies even gain from... In the end, I had to redirect my focus onto Melazine. I recall that Kiara was the one who confiscated my goods for inspection. So I asked one of the more approachable guards to send a letter. But the letter was in fact addressed to Essa. I requested that he write a threat letter to Kiara and force it to...
Am I to assume that the claims you've made are your own thoughts?
No.
Is it true that all members involved in this...
Yes.
Sigewinne, please take him back to the detention center. So, Monsieur Neuvillette, you were concerned that there might be a shadowy faction looking to capitalize on the...
Yes. I experienced a similar incident in the past.
And how long ago was...
More than 400 years.
You might be overthinking this. Time can change a lot of things.
What do you mean?
400 years ago, you and the Melazines you brought to Fontaine were the outliers in society. But in the present day, if someone were to threaten the safety of the Melazines, people wouldn't just sit back and do nothing.
That's right! We saw lots of people standing...
Monsieur Neuvillette, the Melazines are a species you introduced to Fontaine. How the public treats... When people refused to place their trust in Melazines, it was because they were still on the fence about you, their unfamiliar Chief Justice. For almost 500 years, you've conducted every trial with impartiality. You made the right judgment. People no longer have any reservations about you. Right now, your every decision will impact all of Fontaine. In other words, you've gradually transformed the whole nation.
Paimon gets it now. No wonder no one wanted to join forces with Dominique.
I am undeserving of such high compliments. It isn't anything special or worthy of praise. I'm simply fulfilling the promises I've made, and it is unnecessary to hold me in such high regard. The complexity of human emotions and willpower far exceed...
There's no need to be so modest. You're no longer that outsider you were before. Even if you wish to investigate something on your own, many would...
I must say that you've made a fair point. Thank you for clearing my doubts. Now that the case has...
Huh? You're leaving?
And so soon, too?
Thank you for the offer, but I know how this place works all too well. While some are here to redeem themselves, there will inevitably be those who harbor resentment towards me. The less time I spend here, the better.
In that case, I'll have to insist.
Please.
The first is about the guard who helped Domenico.
I know of what you The guard was indeed deployed from the Palais Memoria's staff. However, as I mentioned earlier, I visited today on personal business.
Well, that makes things a lot easier. Hey now, don't let your imagination run wild. Those from up there have a tendency to sympathize with others. However, down here, I'll have a chat with the guard and remind him to take precautions.
I see no issues with that.
Great! That's one thing up.
The other thing was born from my own sense of curiosity. Now, I've heard that you and...
Yep. Nevertheless.
I noticed the small gang as well when I first took over the fortress of Meropide. They were not great in number, but every member... I've looked into their founder. Vautrin remained disciplined throughout his imprisonment. In other words, how he presented himself in prison was very different from his...
What? During his trial, I could sense that his feelings were complicated. He appeared to be full of resentment.
Perhaps he had been putting on an act.
An act?
Neuvillette and Vautrin had a close relationship as superior and subordinate. Thus, the more resentment he displayed, the clearer it would be to those present that you were upholding justice. And to those who had been sitting on the fence, Vautrin's act was a very meaningful one. That's all from me.
I don't have anything to say. Well then, let us head back.
Please, take care.
That trial is something I rarely bring up in conversation, but I have always felt deep regret for what happened to both Carol and Vautrin. The words he spoke in court often replay in my mind, as if urging me on to do something.
But Risley said he never resented you, right? Isn't that a good thing?
I believe I now understand what he wanted to tell me. I feel conflicted about those words. How should I describe it? Surprise, relief, fear, and regret. But this blend of emotions has led me to finally understand some things. I would like to hear your thoughts, too. What do you think of me?
Paimon agrees with everything Risley said. As Chief Justice, every single one of your trials makes an impact on hey!
What I really think is, every trial you've ever judged has left its impression on you. And that's what makes you who you are today.
That is indeed a reasonable assumption. As I said, I find it difficult to express my emotions because I cannot fully understand myself. But I trust your judgment. Since some time ago, I have begun to notice the changes that have emerged as a result of time itself. I will try to contemplate this further. Thank you both.
Oh, huh? It's raining! Oh no, Paimon forgot to bring an umbrella! Come on, let's hurry before it rains harder!
It's raining again? I've had enough of this weather.
There go my travel plans.
Did you read the news this morning? Quick, put away everything on the clothesline.
When is this rain going to stop?
Hydro Dragon, don't cry!
They're planning to reanimate the monster. We have to report this to the Chief Justice.
The Fortress of Meripede. It's a good place for me.
He owes me so many answers.
Nervillette? You could say he's the real symbol of Fontaine's justice.
Watch him closely. He could be trouble.
How can two completely different species possibly coexist?
Who's been threatening Melusines? Show yourself!
You will see much in the human world, from the delightful to the depressing. And one day, when you have dwelt among humanity long enough, you will be placed to bring judgment over all as a spokesperson for Fontaine's past. Good morning, Monsieur Neuvillette! The rainy season's almost—
For the sunny days ahead.
Is the matter resolved?
Yep, we found the person who sent that threatening letter. Risley said he'd keep a close eye on him, so the Melusines should be safe now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Sorry for dragging you all into this.
There's no need to apologize.
Yeah, you didn't drag us in. We got involved of our own accord.
By the way, where's Kiara?
At the Palais Mermonia, more than 50 people offered to protect her. Some even hid within the bushes to look out for danger. I was worried that the excess of protection would make her feel uneasy, so I asked her to stay inside the Palais. It's very safe in there.
What a relief.
Well, now it looks like the dust has finally settled. To celebrate this joyous occasion, Monsieur Neuvillette, would you be interested in an exclusive interview?
That's not how you celebrate!
I will consider it.
Really?
Of course. My schedule is full for the following weeks, but I should be available next month. Come up with questions during the intervening days, and I will answer them to the best of my ability.
Yes! Thank you so much, monsieur!
Now, if you'll excuse me, I must head back to the Palais and issue a communiqué to publicize our investigation results. I hope it will assuage the concerns of all.